We were the first private commercial bank to offer home loans, providing a fast, easy and convenient solution. We made it easier for more and more people to have a home of their own, because we believe in banking beyond transactions. HNB, your partner in progress.
President Maithripala Sirisena has appointed a special committee to look into sudden power outages in the country and present recommendations to the government on what measures could be taken.
The presidential media unit said that the committee comprises of Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ranjit Semlapitiya, the Ministers Susil Premajayantha, Patli Champika Ranawaka Sakara Ratnayaka and Deputy Ministers Ranil Wickramaratne and Ajit P. Pereira.
Meanwhile, the Ceylon Electricity Board says there could be intermittent power supply disruptions in the coming days as the Norachole power plant is not functional.
Intermittent power failures were reported from various parts of the island today as well.
මේ විදුලිය නැ හිටීම නිසා අපිට හරි ව්‍යාපාර කටයුතු කරගන්න හරි අමාරුයි. ඒ නිසා ඉක්මනින් මේකට පියවරක් ගන්න කියලා ආණ්ඩුවෙන් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
While an island-wide blackout was experienced at about 2:20 last afternoon, the power was yet to be restored to many areas by midnight. The Ceylon Electricity Board states that the blackout was caused by an explosion at a major transformer in Birgama. Engineers say the generators at the Norachole plant had automatically switched off as a result of the imbalance on the grid caused by the damaged transformer. The island-wide blackout was caused when the generators at Norachole switched off.
One of the main transformer tripped, and with that simultaneously few very important transmission lines connected to that were also tripped. So that was the main cause, and with that, unfortunately, with the instability conditions in the system, the Norachole coal power plant, at that time all three units were operating. Unfortunately, they didn't try to properly behave to smoothen the instability. That's what happened.
Following the unusual destruction of the transformer, we lodged a complaint with the police, and the police are conducting a separate investigation. The government analyst too will shortly provide a report on what actually transpired. We hope to seek protection from the army once again for special locations like this. We are looking at every side with an open mind. I must say that we are looking into whether it was an act of criminal sabotage. We have never lodged a complaint with the police in the past over a power failure, but we feel something untoward has happened, and I must mention it.
All three generators at the Norachole plant are not functional, and it will take 3 days to switch on the generators. While the non-functionality of the Norachole plant has deprived 42.4% of the electricity supply on the national grid, prevailing dry weather has limited hydropower generation to 20%. Against this backdrop, the sustenance of the national grid is 80% dependent on private sector fuel power stations.
Once it switches off, we have to wait for it to cool somewhat before we can put water in the boilers. It takes about 2 or 3 days for the cooling process. There is no technical flaw in any of the machinery. We have switched on all the other generators to cover the shortfall. What we need now is the cooperation of the consumer. We have lost 900 megawatts, and the disparity between supply and demand right now is about 300 to 450 megawatts. We need the support of the consumer over the next 2 or 3 days to correct the imbalance, since the hydropower plants too are operating at a lower capacity.
Yesterday, the chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Anura Vijaypala, decided to resign from his position, taking responsibility for the 3 island-wide blackouts experienced over the past 6 months. Nevertheless, the subject minister has refused to accept Vijaypala's resignation.
When there is a change in the grid, there is unusual activity at the Norachole power plant. Through this, the entire grid fails. In truth, one of the reasons for me to resign is that If you ask me now if anything will happen to the system in another hour, I cannot say. Our grid is in a very weak position. When the preliminary plans were being drawn up, if we were able to tell the planning engineers that the Norochure plant must function without switching off automatically when the grid collapses, then we would not have this problem.
Meanwhile, issuing a statement today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that given that this is the third such incident in a short time frame, there can be no pardon. The Prime Minister noted that the President, himself, the Subject Minister and others had discussed the matter and issued instructions, and that a special discussion was held this afternoon. He added that Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya would make submissions in this regard to Parliament on the 23rd of this month. The statement adds that steps will be taken to obtain local and foreign services external to the CEB, and that steps will be taken to formulate a new plan for the CEB. The Prime Minister also expressed disappointment on behalf of the government for any inconvenience caused as a result of yesterday's power failure.